Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to another session of Not Perfect Zen. Just a reminder, there are no mistakes, and we are doing a mindful monotangle today, so this is a reminder to be present. We're going to take our time and just enjoy this pattern that I found. I'm going to show you one called Tour. And since this is the Olympics going on right now, this pattern by Nancy Domnauer, she's a CZT. It is actually something that she saw on a map when she was in France. And it was this little thing right here was the symbol for the Eiffel Tower. And she took that and deconstructed it, which means she is showing us the steps to create this. So it's kind of like a fragment, but we are going to use it in a grid. And it doesn't look too exciting on my little tile here, but when we put it together, you're really gonna like it. And I've been playing with it and really enjoying it. We will be using a Zentangle 3.5-inch white tile. If you don't have that, feel free to use any paper that you have. As always, use any supplies that you have on hand. I'll be using a Micron PN, a graphite pencil, which is just a 2B regular pencil, but there's no eraser on the end because there's no mistakes, and a tortillon, also known as a blending tool. Okay? And we are going to start with the breath and relax, and we're going to do our 4 corner dots. I do want to say my gratitude. I'm very grateful for the email I got from Nancy this week where she reminded us that she had this pattern since the Olympics are here. And like I said, I played with it and really had fun. So let's get started with our 4 corner dots. And I'm going to make them even because we're going to do a grid. Okay, if it helps you to turn your tile, then do that. I turn mine quite often. You can see I didn't line that up exactly. That's not ever a problem. On my channel, we don't do perfect. My videos aren't perfect, and my tiles are not perfect, and I don't expect anyone to do perfect work. There's no such thing, so don't worry about it. Okay, we are going to divide this in half, and when we do this, make drawing these lines part of being mindful. And mindful just means being in the present moment, okay? Over the years, I have tried many types of meditation and mindfulness, and okay. I'm doing this in pencil first, okay? And these are not perfectly spaced apart, and that's okay. But if you do it in pencil first, then you can adjust it a little bit if you need to. Nothing wrong with that. And I find that if I pull my pencil toward me, I do a little bit better. And for some reason, I find it easier if I'm looking at the line over here when I do a line. Okay, so I think this one needs to be over just a little bit. So I'm just going to adjust that a little before I get my pen. And now we're just going to go over that grid. I always do mine in pencil first. If you're brave, go ahead and do it in ink first. That's okay. And then as you do that, you can adjust it a little bit if you feel you need to. I do keep a kneaded eraser handy if my grandchildren haven't walked off with it. Okay, and that it's just soft and it doesn't leave residue on your tile. Okay, so again, we're just filling in our grid. Again, just take your time with it. As Maria said, enjoy drawing one line at a time. Okay, so we have our grid. I'm going to just erase that extra so it's not confusing for anybody. And again, you can see that these are not perfect squares, and we're not looking for perfect. We just want to enjoy this time. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put these little squares at each of these intersections. And where there's not an intersection, we'll have just part of that square on a corner or on the edge. Okay, I'm going to start on one of these full intersections. And I do take my time. I do go slowly when I'm drawing, but I especially try to take my time in my videos. If I'm going too slow, you can speed it up with YouTube controls. If I'm going too fast, you can slow it down. I don't speed up my videos, and I don't put music in the background, because both of those things, especially as I get older, make me very anxious, and we don't want to be anxious, we just want to relax, right? Okay, see, that was not a perfect square. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Sorry for the wobbleness. And I found on the ones that I did, I had such a variety of sizes. Okay, so now on this corner, we're just going to have a little just section of that. Like I said, it's almost like a fragment. And a fragment is just a small pattern that you draw in a grid, which is also known as reticulum. More than one grid, you would call it reticula. And I do have a playlist that explains that. It shows you some different fragments and reticula. Again, even doing this part, just take your time. Enjoy drawing these little boxes. Okay, so the next step is we're going to connect the corners of these little boxes. for this part also, just enjoy drawing one line at a time. I have enjoyed looking for ideas for these mindful monotangles. I was really happy to find this one. Okay, turn your tile. And now we're going to come across this way. So this pattern uses just straight lines and C curves. That's all. And it won't matter if these are exactly the same or not. We're not looking for exactness in our art. At least I'm not. I just want to enjoy drawing and then see the result. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is put these little C curves between the boxes. And I just love how this begins to transform. Okay, so we'll do it on each side of this line now. I have not watched all of the Olympics. I don't have like cable TV or anything like that, so I look at some of the results on YouTube. I am happy for all of the winners. I'm not trying to root for my country, just root for the person who does the best. Of course, I'm happy if the USA wins gold or any medals, but you know, everybody has been out there trying their hardest. Okay, so now we're going to turn and do the same thing on these lines. This part reminds me of the pattern bales. I get focused on this and I forget to say anything, and that's okay. Enjoy the quiet. Okay, so there we go. That is the basic pattern of Tour. Okay, just like we have it here. I want to show you how it looked when I put it on a tan Renaissance tile, and then I put just some basic shading and a little bit of the white charcoal pencil here in the centers, and I really like how that looked. And then just a little dot here where these X's come across. So I'm going to show you some things that I did on one of my tiles, and I just loved how it changed it. Okay, and I looked through the Mosaic app and found some ways that people had done it and gave me some ideas. So what I'm going to do first is add another C curve around each one of these. And when you're doing your tiles, don't be afraid to try something different. And as we go along on this one, that's what I did. I thought, well, what if I do this? Or what if I do that? And it came out really cool. Okay, again, I'm just putting the same C curve on the outside of each of these. Sometimes I'm starting exactly in that same place. Sometimes it ends up down there. Doesn't matter. Again, we're not looking for perfection. I just want you to learn how to make these patterns. And when you want to sit down and just relax, this is one that's, I think, easy to do. And it has fun results. And when you have these simple strokes on a pattern like this, it's easy to just get into the zen. I do love to look at the Zentangle inspired art with all of its beautiful colors and combinations of patterns. And I've done it, but like I said, as I get older, I just want things that are easy to do. And this, I think, is an easy pattern. And there are so many teachers out there that do an excellent job with teaching the Zentangle inspired art. You might see it listed as ZIA. But when I found Zentangle in 2019, the focus was still mostly on white tiles and black ink, and that is still my favorite. Now see how that's already changing it? I love it. Okay, so look at the difference. Isn't that cool? Okay, so the next thing I did, I thought, well, what if I added a little bit of enthatching? And enthatching is just, okay, we have these shapes where I've done this, and I've added this other aura, and all I'm going to do is, as you can see, I'm just kind of filling in the end, and then I lift my pen up, and then our goal is to leave a white space in the center. Okay, like that. And we don't want just we're not looking for an exact line like that. Okay, that's not what we want. We want it to just be soft, kind of like a shadow. And again, that's called, this is what Maria called it, enthatching. I don't know if that's spelled right or not, but that's what we're going to do. Okay, so in each of these, we're just going to, I'm just on the one on the outside. We're not going to do it in the center. We're just going to add this enthatching. Don't be in a hurry. Again, this is part of your mindfulness on this tile. One of the people I used to follow years ago, his name was John Kabat-Zinn, and he said that mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment. I thought that was really cool. So paying attention in the present moment, like this. And when I started doing Zentangle, that's exactly the benefits I got from it, was mindfulness, and it was better than the meditations that I had tried for years to do. And I like to do Zentangle every morning. If I don't get a chance to do it, then something's just not right. Okay, I just love how this looks. I do this kind of enthatching on a lot of patterns. Okay, you can already see the difference between this and that. Isn't that cool? And be aware, I'm going to turn this back, that when you add extra ink like that, it may take a little bit longer to dry. So I'm trying to make sure I don't put my hand on it. And again, if you do this, take your time. Enjoy this part. I do have some tiles that I start in the morning, and I might finish them that evening or finish the next day, because I'm not in a hurry. And I hope you're able to do the same thing. Generally, when I'm learning a pattern like this, I will do it on just a piece of sketchbook paper. And I do make mistakes. I do practice for a good amount of time before I ever do a video. So please don't think that I get this done right the first time, because I don't. The perfectionist in me wants to show you a perfect video, but that's not going to happen. But I do practice. And one of my mentors showed me her sketchbook, and in her videos she sometimes showed how she practiced. And that was Annie Taylor. It's a sweet lady in the UK, and I found out about her during COVID when she was in Spain, and the Spanish CZTs were offering free videos on Instagram because of COVID, and found out that there were a lot of great teachers there, and Annie Taylor is one of them. Okay, so now I've turned my tile. I'm going to do the same thing. See how it's transformed already? Okay, don't be afraid to say what if, especially if you're doing something on sketch paper for practice. Just have fun with it. Someone asked me recently, what does it take to become a CZT? And I gave her some ideas, and then after I thought about it even more, I wrote her back and I said, you know what? You only need 2 things to become a CZT. One is love Zentangle, and 2 is have a desire to share it. And that's all you need. You don't have to be a perfect artist. You don't have to be a trained artist. I got all of my training initially just from YouTube videos, and I did the book One Zentangle a Day, and that was really good practice. My 2 favorite people on YouTube were Melinda Barlow, and the other channel was called Draw Tangles with Dawn, and her name is Dawn Collins. She was not a CZT. You don't have to be a CZT to share Zentangle. But both of them always had great ideas. And they both still have channels out there. Although I have not seen anything from Melinda recently, and I hope she's okay. All right, again, this is a lot of repetition. Feel free to move forward in the video if you need to. I like using a Micron PN. PN stands for plastic nib, and especially with doing this in thatching, I can get a little rough on my pins, and the plastic nib holds up to that. Isn't that cool how that's changing? I love it. All right, we're getting there. Adding these dark lines adds drama. And I will show you some other things I tried in my little sketchbook that I thought were not a good idea, but you never know until you try. You can do the same thing with your graphite pencil, like I did on this one, okay? Except I didn't add the extra lines, but see how I just added some graphite in there? You can do the same thing and get close to that same effect. Okay? Isn't that cool? I just love how it transforms it into something new. All right, the other thing that we can do, if we want, is to put a little bit of weighting here. You could actually make it into a square, or let's just put a little dot in there. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do is show you an idea that I got off of the Mosaic app, and that's to use my graphite pencil to add some shading in here. But stay with me here and don't get ahead. I am going to add graphite here in these two sections. And in the one next to it, I'm going to do just the opposite. And I just thought this looked so cool. Someone had that idea. What if I alternate these? And they tried it and liked it and shared it. And now I can share it with you. I get a lot of inspiration from Facebook groups and YouTube, and especially the Mosaic app. And that app is available for both iPhone and Android. Okay. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. So thought I did it wrong. Okay, so this one is on the side. So down here, I'm going to go this way. When you're doing this on your own in the quiet without me chatting, it's a very relaxing and enjoyable pattern. And I just think it's so cool that we were reminded of it during the Olympics. Tour, T-O-U-R, in French is tower. So that's what it stood for on the map. And again, I'm just going opposite of what was in the one next to it. Okay, these are on the sides, so this one will be here on the top and bottom. And I'm just doing it very softly, okay? I'm not pushing down at all. Just kind of on the side of my pencil. That's one of the advantages of this short pencil. You can get what they call golf pencils. Okay, this is just a regular 2B pencil like we had in school. You could also do this in color. Okay, I like to teach in black and white because that's accessible to most of us. Just a pen and paper and a pencil. But if you want to add color and you want to add other embellishments to this tile, please do. I have a couple of ladies that follow me that do that, and oh my gosh, their tiles are gorgeous. I get excited, wondering what they're going to do with my basic ideas. Okay, and this is the only shading I'm going to do on this tile because I've already done the in-thatching. Okay, so now with my tortillon, also known as a blending tool, I keep this paper clip in there so that my tip doesn't get pushed down too much, and I just leave it in there now. So kind of on the side, just like I had my pencil, I'm just gonna softly push this graphite into the paper. Okay, I'm going to try not to put my hand on top of where I've already put the graphite. But if you feel like you need to, you could put, let's see, another piece of paper on top like this, okay? And then it keeps your hand from smearing what's already there or from getting the graphite on your hand here and then smearing it on your tile. Okay, I'm going to turn my tile. This is one of the nice things about a Zentangle tile is it's small, it's easy to move around and keep your hand comfortable. That is part of what Rick and Maria intended with what they called the elegance of limits. And I do plan to talk about that a little bit more in one of my next videos. Initially, having only black ink on a white tile was part of the elegance of limits because it kept everything simple. And I still like it that way. Okay, we got it on there. All right, isn't that cool? All right, so let's look. So we went from this, was what this looked like when we started, to this. I just I think it's so much fun. All right, I want to show you from my practice that you can see that I did this grid, and then someone had shown that they put like checkerboard in here, and I didn't like that much, so I filled it in, and I definitely didn't like that. And here's how it would look if we didn't fill it in over here. But this just made it look like it was transforming, going in this direction. So again, Tour by Nancy Domnauer, and she created this tangle in 2015. Pretty cool, huh? And then I looked up, because I was doing mindful monotangles, I looked up mindfulness, and this is what I was reading to you. Mindfulness is awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment. And that is from John Kabat-Zinn. And then I looked at the dictionary, just what does mindful mean? Focusing one's awareness on the present moment. So again, be present. And I want to show you this tile that I did. This one, if you watched one of my last videos where I showed how to do watercolor on your tiles, this is one that I demonstrated in the video. And I really wasn't sure how it was going to look, because as you can see, the pink came out this way and the yellow came in this way, and it kind of got all mixed. And I tried to tell myself, and if you were watching the video, tell you that it's okay, don't worry about getting it perfect. So I filled this with the pattern that we just did, Tour, and then on the outside I added this pattern. It's called Up and Down by Kathy Berenger, CZT, and that one came out in 2013. And it's just a very simple up and down kind of C-shaped petals. And then she has multiple variations. If you look at tanglepatterns.com, different ways that you can do it. And one of the things she did was these little teardrops. And then I just added some shading, and I thought, well, look at that. My tile is okay after all. So again, it wasn't perfect, and that was perfectly fine. So there we go. So there's the one that we did, and there it is in Renaissance. Oh, sorry. And there it is, just plain. Pretty cool. All right. Thank you again so much. Before I forget, let's put our chop. Remember to add your chop, add your signature on the back, add any other information that you would like, the name of the pattern, and the person who deconstructed it. This is Mindful Monotangle number 4. Today's August 7th, and I have fun sometimes putting my chop in there. Sign it. If you're not sure about it, hold it out at arm's length and admire it again. Admire your work. I love looking at it, what I've done, and tell myself, you did a good job. You did great. Give yourself a pat on the back and be kind to yourself, all right? Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe, add comments, share with others. And again, the reason I ask that is I do all this freely, but YouTube gives me a little bit for the likes and for watching my videos, and that allows me to keep bringing this to you, and I love doing that. So thank you again. I hope that you enjoyed this and come back again, my friends. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.